Hey, how's it going? Today we're going to play some games with Frostlass Monkey Dory. This is the deck that Xander Perot played at NAIC. He started off 5-0 and then ended up having some unfortunate games and did not make day 2. But I think the deck is really cool and he's definitely onto something. Frostlass, of course, says in between turns, put 1 damage counter on every Pokemon in play with an ability except for any Frostlass. So that's our Pokemon and your opponent's Pokemon. And then Monkey Dory, if it has a darkness energy attached to it, we can move 3 damage counters from one of our Pokemon to one of our opponent's Pokemon. So that's how we're going to be doing all of our damage. We're going to be building up damage on our own Monkey Dories and Rotom and Jirachi and Manaphy, really whatever we have in play with an ability, and moving it over to our opponent's side. And Frostlass is also going to do damage to him, of course. We have Radiant Serena that we can put in play if the damage gets too overwhelming. Then we can heal some extra damage from all of our Pokemon each turn. It heals 20 from all of our guys. And we have the Noivern that has the attack that does 70 for double colorless and doesn't let basic Pokemon hit us. We can also use the second attack for 140 and our opponent can't play special energies or stadiums. Blood Moon Ursaluna is how we're going to finish the game a lot of the time. It has an attack that does 240 for I think 5 energy, and it costs 1 less energy for each prize card our opponent has taken. Mawile, to buy some turns, we can trap our opponent's Greninja in the active if they can't attack with it with Tempting Trap. It says our opponent's Pokemon can't retreat next turn, and it takes 90 more damage next turn too. And we have Cleffa that lets us draw up to 7 cards in our hand for free. We're going to use that a lot. We have Minior that for a colorless does 20 damage for each retreat cost in our opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. And we combine that with super effective glasses to knock out Snorlaxes like the Block Snorlax, or really any of the Snorlaxes. We can also knock out a Iron Hands with it, or a Iron Thorns. And yeah, the rest of the deck is just kind of supporters and stuff to make the deck work. So let's get into the games. Alright, so we're up against Guardy this game, and I go to play a Buddy Poffin, and I can't get my Snorunt here. This is very annoying. This is an old glitch from the game that I thought was gone. I can get every other Pokemon except for the one that I want for some reason. I'm trying to do anything that I can to figure out how to make it let me get the Snowrunts, but it just wouldn't let me. So I'm going to have to wait until next turn to get out my guys. And also, I'm not sure if you should go first or second with this deck. I was picking first and picking second back and forth, and I don't know, either or is fine. This is a really difficult deck to play, so it's kind of hard to speak on what you should choose when it comes to first or second. It seems like you could choose second and be pretty fine because it's kind of slow. You're just sitting here drawing cards for a little bit, just slowly setting up, and then trying to buy time at some point. And these Frostlass damage pings add up way quicker than it seems like it would just being 10 or 20 damage in between turns. It's kind of wild. But they evolve into 2 Kirlias and start trading. They don't exactly have the best start, which is kind of nice for this situation because I got screwed over by the game. And so yeah, them kind of stumbling a little bit is giving me the time that I would need to recover from not being able to get my Snowrunts out until turn 2. But I do top deck a Frostlass, and I think I'm going to have to bench the Rotom to put a Forest Seal Stone on it and grab an Irida or something. I just want to get the damage rolling, really. And this is the only option that I have. Also, I can't really draw cards with Cleffa this turn. I would draw more with Rotom, so I might as well might as well use that. I grab Frostlass and a Nest Ball because I'm planning on maybe Nest Balling out Mawile next turn and trying to counter catcher the Greninja and stick into the active since they did just trade a Turo away. And I already have the TM Devo in my hand, and I do get the counter catcher off of the instant charge, which is nice. They evolve into another Kirlia, so this damage is really going to start adding up. Every single one of their Pokemon has an ability. They Iono my hand away, which is kind of unfortunate. It has exactly what I wanted in it. But I do get some supporters, so that is nice. The one kind of scary part right now is they can just knock out my Cleffa with their Munkidori's ability, which is kind of the downside to having Cleffa in play, but it's just the way it is right now. And they're getting quite a few Psychic Energy in the discard pile. Now, I think they make a mistake right here. I think they should just attack me with Gardevoir. It makes no sense to attack with anything else. Like, especially Fluttermane, which is what I think that they're going to attack with to try and knock out a couple of my guys. But that's going to put way too much damage on themselves. So I promote the Manaphy because that's what I think that they're trying to do with their play, is knock out my Manaphy with my own Froslass pings and their Fluttermane pings. So I promote that, just let them knock it out. They can anywhere else, the 2 damage counters is kind of inconsequential. And they put 8 damage counters on their Manaphy, which means it's going to get knocked out in between turns. And this is kind of confusing here, this interaction. I wasn't sure how exactly it was going to work, but it works the way that I was afraid, and I wish I put the rescue board somewhere else. Is when it went to register the Froslass ability, it was in the active with the Fluttermane, so it didn't do it, and then it did the second Froslass, which I don't know how exactly it should work in that situation. Because all the abilities should happen simultaneously, I would think. I don't know, I'd have to look. There's like a chart that shows you how like the attacking phase kind of works of what's processed in order of like damage, effects of attacks, and knockouts and promotions and stuff like that. So I just Irida here. I want to get out a 3rd Froslass, or at least have the option to get out a 3rd Froslass, because getting out 3 is kind of scary sometimes because your own guys get knocked out a little too fast. And I'm kind of hesitant to bench that because I wanted to counter catcher Greninja this turn and get it stuck in the active with Mawile, but I couldn't. So I just put up a Snorunt and draw 3 with Rotom. And they're getting a pretty big hand there, but we have a lot of damage on their field. So they're gonna, like, all their Pokemon are gonna be knocked out soon, and I can TM Devo and knock out all their Gardevoirs at a certain point, which is what I should have done last turn. But I played Irida because, I don't know, I wasn't thinking. But what I should have done was played Arven and gotten TM Devo, and I could have manipulated the damage in a way to make it so that they couldn't attack this turn. But now if I do that next turn, they're going to have the Scream Tail ready to attack, which is kind of annoying. I could knock it out with the ability, but with the Munkidori ability, I mean. But I really want to get rid of their own Munkidori, and I should be able to do that if they don't move damage off of it, which they didn't. And that kind of like messed up my plan there to get rid of all their Guardies, which is kind of unfortunate. But I might be able to do that in a couple turns. I mean, even if I TM Devo and knock out the Scream Tail this turn, that would allow me to, or make it so that they couldn't attack next turn. But I think I can't get rid of their attacker too is the problem. And I really want to knock out the Ralts underneath the Kirlia when I get to do that. But if I put 2 damage counters on the Munkidori, it gets knocked out. But I put 3 because I might as well move 3. And I just Ultra Ball here for a 3rd Frostlass. And I can also counter Catcher this turn, which might be good. This is kind of a hard turn. I'm really not sure what to do. There's a lot of turns with this deck where it's really unclear of what the correct play would be. And like you want to Irida for a Pokemon, but you don't know which item to get, but then you find out at the end of the game that you needed to grab some like a switch cart or something like that. And I am just going to end up going for the TM Devo this turn and trying to counter Catcher the Greninja to try and buy some time. I don't know if I really needed to do this. Or I counter Catcher the Ralts. Because if they want to evolve up, it's going to have a 2 retreat cost. And they can't really evolve the benched Ralts, or else it'll just get knocked out right away. And I'll basically win. Like, I'll win coming into my turn if they evolve the bench Ralts. So they have to evolve the active to hope to attack. And this does put me in a pretty good spot as long as they can't retreat first. Even if they do, I think I will win this game eventually. They're going to Pal Pad, put their Turo back. I don't know if they have any ways to draw cards anymore. I think that they're pretty low on energy if I'm remembering right. They shouldn't have barely any energy in their deck left. So they do evolve the active. That's kind of a rough decision for my opponent. And they Unfair Stamp. That's interesting. I didn't think Unfair Stamp worked like that, but I guess it does. So I'm pretty sure I took all my prizes in between turns. Oh, the TM Devo is what made the Unfair Stamp work. I didn't even think about that. I was kind of confused when that happened. But that makes more sense now that I'm thinking back on it. There's pretty much nothing my opponent can do. I'm just going to win here. They got 1 Munkidori, but they needed to play 2 or play 1 Munkidori down and get a Professor Turo to get enough damage off of their field for them to not lose immediately. So I can just Munkidori damage onto the Ralts and it gets knocked out and I take my last turn and I win basically without attacking for damage, which is really cool. Guardy is probably one of this deck's best matchups. Yeah, so let's get on to the next game. Alright, so I think my opponent won the coin flip and chose to go first, and it's of course Gholdengo. That is, I think, the only deck playing Palkia right now that I can think of off the top of my head, so it's safe to assume that. And this should be a decent matchup, I think. And I have a pretty fine hand. I have to get Manaphy here because I'm afraid of them getting Greninja off turn 2 and just destroying my board. And I'm just going to also grab Cleffa and put it in the active. I really want to keep both these cards, so I'm not going to Vessel anything away. And I'm just going to draw 4. I could have Vesseled away the Lana, but I really want to keep it. And now I can Vessel away the Noibat next turn, and it's basically the same, like the same thing, because I didn't need to get the energy down this turn for any reason. It's not like I'm like gonna attack next turn or anything. So now I can evolve up. I could grab an Ultra Ball. I'm not really too sure what I would get rid of out of the hand. Oh, I can grab the super effective glasses and Ultra Ball away that. And the Noibat. And then I can probably just not play the Vessel another time for another turn. I could get rid of the Arven, but I don't know. It's kind of a hard decision. That's my only playable supporter, but I do get rid of it because I think having the energy is better, and I might want to attack for confusion next turn. I think that was the real thing that made me decide to get rid of it, is being able to attack. We start doing damage. They haven't evolved their Palkia up yet, so that doesn't take any damage. And they boss my Munkidori and rule the region. I don't know what their whole idea was with that. That was kind of weird. I think they had enough to attack. I'm pretty sure that attack is 3 energy. Kinda. I don't know. Yeah, I look at it right there to see what's going on. I don't know if they just wanted to stop me from drawing cards or what the deal is. That was a very interesting play by my opponent. They might also think they don't want to go behind him prize cards. I don't know. Or they could have just misclicked. That's also possible. But they didn't like, usually when people misclick, they do like a sad emote afterwards or something. But they do just knock me out that turn or the next turn, and I can just Lana's Aid for my Munkidori back and put it back onto the bench and keep moving damage off my guy. I just burned this Buddy Poffin out of my hand to just get rid of it. I'm not going to need it for the rest of the game. And I can also leave the dark in the discard pile because there's quite a few dark. There's like 5 dark in this deck and you don't really need all of them. And I had a dark in my hand. I just want the psychic for the attack options again. And I really, like, I needed to get down a Munkidori that turn to have a way to heal my Manaphy. And I retreat and heal my Manaphy the rest of the way. And unfair stamp. I do get another Froslass. This is where it starts getting rough though. Like, I can evolve it, but that knocks out my Manaphy really quick. Like within 2 turns, my Manaphy is knocked out. Because it'll do 60 to it by the time it's my turn again. And then I'll heal 30 and then it'll get knocked out over the course of the next cycle of turns. That's definitely something to watch out for with this deck, is sometimes putting 3 Froslass in play really damages your board more than it helps you win. And when I was watching Xander play, I did notice that he wasn't going, well, it plays a 3-4 Froslass line, which is really weird, but I don't know, it's just to find it easier. And this is shocking to me. They just benched their own Munkidori out of nowhere. I'm like, why in the world is there a Munkidori in a Gholdengo deck? Like, what is going on here? They forced my Manaphy to get knocked out by my own abilities. That's really rough. But what can you do? Right now I can Nest Ball, and I could get the Serena, but I could also get a Munkidori, another one, and it would kind of do the same thing for right now. So I want to evolve into a 3rd Froslass, I think, this turn. And I just heal off my other one all the way. And I'm just kind of thinning my hand down to draw as much as I can with the Sinnoh. I do want to keep the TM Devo, because that is how I'm going to take 4 of my prize cards. And yeah, I wish that Froslass ability was a little more efficient, I guess. It does like all 3 of them separately, where it should just do one of them and like put one of them up like it does for all of them and then do 30 damage if there's 3. Kind of weird. Kind of takes a lot longer, like 3 times the length that it needs to, but that's fine. And they get the Greninja off and knock out my Clefairy with their Munkidori. And now they're going to go down to 1 prize. This is terribly unfortunate. I should have started to focus down the 70 HP Gimmighoul at some point. I think it was kind of a mistake that I didn't, but at a certain point, they put their own Munkidori in play, and I thought they would just move all the damage that I moved to it off of it. But I only needed it to stick for a turn, but in hindsight, that's definitely what I should have done. I needed to take a turn to completely board wipe them and make it so that they couldn't attack the next turn if they wanted to. And I have Mawile in my hand, but I don't know. I can't Monkey Dory any damage anyway. I was thinking I needed to get another one, but I don't, so I'm just going to use TM Devo and hope that they cannot attack next turn, or attack me. So I did. I honor them to 1. That's kind of a hard spot to attack from. I have the Ursaluna now in my hand, so I can take another prize card next turn. And I could also get down a Monkey Dory next turn, hopefully. Well, not with the hand that I have, but hopefully I get something off the prizes. I'm not sure what exactly is left in the deck, but I could like Irida for Nest Ball and Nest Ball out a Monkey Dory and move the damage to knock out their Monkey Dory. But of course, off of the 2 cards that they get are literally the 2 perfect cards, which is kind of unfortunate. And we do end up losing that game. I think there's probably some stuff that I could have done better for sure, but that should be a good matchup most of the time. Watching it back, I don't know what I messed up. I probably should have like thrown some more attacks in there at some point. And if I could have set up a Pokemon to devolve them that didn't get knocked out with just 1 energy on the Goldengo. Or really, I probably just needed to start moving damage to their Gimmighoul at some point so that I could leave them no option to evolve back up into a Goldengo on the turn that I Iono'd and TM Devo'd, because that's kind of what I was working towards the whole game. I wanted to do it sooner. That's why I was moving damage onto the Palkia. So I wanted to TM Devo a couple turns sooner or a turn sooner, but it just didn't end up happening. They put on a lot of pressure. That Greninja play was rough. That took them a lot of prizes that turn. And yeah, that's the crazy Frostlass Monkey Dory deck. I don't know. It must be at least decent or good, because Xander's a really good player and he does do some off the wall things sometimes, but I don't think he would end up playing a deck to NAIC that is just total trash. There's got to be at least something there, and I had a lot of fun playing it. It was kind of frustrating at times because the deck is very difficult to play. Like planning you need to kind of plan all your turns right at the beginning of the game, maybe even more so than Lost Box, because with decks like this, they end up being so hard to play because the power level's lower than a deck like Lost Box, where Lost Box, the resource management is just hard, but the power level of the deck is so high that sometimes you can just bail yourself out of situations by just the fact that the deck's so strong with Greninja or the big attackers that you can use. But this deck is on the lower power level of things, so everything needs to go perfect, and you're kind of fighting against the deck already not being necessarily as strong as the deck that you're playing against. I don't know. It is a cool deck though, so yeah, take care and have a good one.